Hi, this video is going to be looking at some different things you can do to make sequencers in Bitwig's note grid, and then I'm going to particularly be showing how to put together an auto scale and root key selector. So yeah, note grid came out recently, and I've been kind of combining different ideas that I had in sequencers before to make new sequencers in note grid. So this is something I've just been working on the last couple days. So this thing is combining some different sequencers that I've shown in previous videos. So I've got like my XY sequencer over here, and then except I've replaced the 16 buttons that I had this version with just four-step sequencers. And then I've got my like retriggering sequencers and different things, and then I just added this scale selector. So I want to show you a couple of the different options just to give you some ideas of cool things you can do, and I'll kind of explain how you can run some of this stuff. But a lot of these I've explained in previous videos, so I'll reference those. So let me play a note right now and show you the different options that I have going on right here. And keep in mind, we're not playing sound from the grid right now. I'm triggering just a simple patch in Vital. So right now, this XY is controlling the pitch. But I have these gates over here are controlling the actual gate. So the XY, if you actually look at the lights over here, you'll know what's going on really on the sequencer over here, because I replaced it with knobs because I had knobs before and I thought it's easier to program steps. So what it's doing is each of these squares, you can imagine being 16, it's moving between them just like this. So you can just put in whatever values you want here and it moves between them. So if I turn off these sequencers, now you'll be hearing gates from here. So you're just going to be hearing the XY sequencer, which is like this. So the XY sequencer is driven by this X and this Y over here. So these X and Y's move through X and through Y. And then I have them right now assigned to this, assigned to these, what do you call them? These LFOs. So actually, if I just turned down these LFOs right now, you can see that if we just move through here, okay, so and then I have these LFOs have like FMings. So you get interesting stuff when you FM LFOs from other LFOs. You see, it's just like it's more interesting. All right, and then so another option that I have with this sequencer. So all right, here, let me turn back on the gate sequencer. So now the gate is controlling the gate. The XY is controlling the pitch. But I have other options I can do to control the pitch. So if I turn this linear on, now it's going to work like a normal step sequencer. You see? You can see that playing. So now whatever values are in here, it's going to play. And the reason it's getting higher pitch is I just increased the mod amount. So then another thing I could do is just bypass the sequencer altogether and allow the LFOs to control the pitch, like this. And this decides if this LFO or this LFO is assigned to the pitch. So if I just mess with the FM a little bit, we'll get really like all over the place kind of things. Okay, so I'm going to turn this back off and just put it on linear now. So now the XY is not doing anything. We just have a linear sequencer. and then these gates. So the way these gates work, so I don't think I'm going to get into all of how to make these parts. I'm going to show how to make the pitch quantizer on this video, but all these other parts I've explained in other videos. So this XY sequencer, I've explained how to make it on another video, and then these types of like ratcheting sequencers I've also explained on another video. So basically, to get all this stuff to work, you just have to kind of have buttons with select modules that just route the signal in different ways. So basically deciding what's triggering the gate. Is it these gate sequencers that are triggering the gate, or is it these gate sequencers? So that's basically what I have going on here to give this sequencer lots of different options. So then, this thing, if I turn off this, we have no retriggers. And this over here is gate length. So if I'm like this, okay, and then if I bring these down, I can add these, so we have, they're going to be shorter, and then we can add stutters. Okay, and then this is the probability that a step will hit. And then I have something kind of weird going on over here. So this is another fun thing you can mess with in sequencers. So this is triggering a sine mod, which is found up in here. These are usually used for, phase, but phase in Bitwig, phase and timing are the same thing. So anything that can control the phase of a waveform can also control the time. So I have this. So check out what's here. Let me bring these up a little bit. Have a little less reviews. So check this out. If I turn up sine mod, and the cool thing, you can sequence that. So now I have this sequencer, which is going slower than the main sequencer, which just has sine mod come on here and there, which will give you some weird options. So anyway, this gives a lot of different ways to make weird, glitchy, changing sequences. And I like sequencers like this that you have a lot of options for kind of randomization and just tweaking things and getting unusual results. So what do we have controlling the pitch right now? The linear. And then the XY, it's going between these different values. So like, if we could, for example, have lower values over here, and then just like bring them up a little bit per row, so that like, then that'll kind of make the Y move it up octaves. So if I turn off this sequencer now, we just have the XY sequencer. It's going to be very all over the place. And then, you'll hear better what's going on if so this is just controlling vital. Let me put something with a little bit less yeah, I just want something with a little more attack to hear more clearly what's going on. Oh, I think I might have opened that on a screen that you couldn't see. Yeah, I did. Anyway, I was just changing this vital patch over here, so I just brought the attack down. It's a very simple patch. Okay. So let me load this back up. So now you can kind of hear better what's going on when you see these moving around. And then you could even have the LFO also triggering it while this is triggering the gate, so which will get really unusual results. So anyway, you can see there's lots and lots of different ways to trigger the sound on here. Okay, so anyway, now the last feature, yeah, if anybody's curious how you would make these actual connections, let me know. But like I mentioned, in terms of all these parts, all of them I've really gone over in other videos, so I'm just kind of combining them in this one. So I'm going to link to the videos at the end of here. And then what I wanted to show on the now is that I have this whole setup that I just experimented with last night for adding to sequencers. And there might be a better way to do this, but basically the way I have this set up is that you can pick your root over here, and you can see as you change that, I have it only working though for, you have to just move these controls within the third octave, and you can see it'll change which notes are playing within these different scales. And then I have a scale option over here. So if you see the little yellow light, it'll just tell you which scale it's being snapped to. So like, you know, if I go down to this Egyptian mode over here, put it on, let's say E, then I can hold down my E note. Okay. So yeah, that's a kind of a fun new feature. I mean, you already have, I mean, in terms of like sequencers I'm doing, you know, you already have pitch quantizers that can be used, but I like having like sequencers that you can just play with knobs and quickly try out different ideas. So I'm going to show you just how I set this up. So if anybody wants to use this general pitch quantizer idea in your videos, you can, I'm not in your videos, in your grid patches and your note grid patches, you can do that. So let me show you how to do this now. So I'm just going to open up a new grid patch or note grid. And it's a pretty simple thing to set up, actually. So if you just go to your pitch, let's grab this, because this will be on the interface to be the kind of indicator. And then to have a selector that decides which one to play, what I did was I have a series of logics that are just saying that, and then, so let's copy this now over. So let's get C, let's get all the notes. So C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, and B. Okay, so to set this up, basically, what you want to do is here first, let's duplicate this. Okay, so we'll say that if C is equal to C, I mean, if this note is equal to C, it'll trigger, what it's going to do is open up a modulator that'll decide which notes are being played. So then we'll have the same thing here. I should have wired all this up before I duplicated them, but anyway, let's just do it like this. And again, like, I mean, this is kind of just it takes a minute to set up, but for me, it's just sort of a convenience thing to just have the scales already set up and not, to just be able to try out different ideas, especially if you don't know your scales by heart and stuff, and you don't feel like checking them on a reference or anything. Just simply having them all laid out in your sequencer patches is kind of a nice option. Shit. What did I just do? All right. So what these are going to do is open up selectors. And what I'll do is let's run a 1 into the lower selector and then have it go to a modulator. So we'll have that for each one. That what's going to happen is whenever this note equals this note, it'll trigger the selector to allow a 1, which will basically be like an on switch in to turn on this modulator. And this modulator will decide which notes are being played for each given scale. So let's duplicate this now. And I know this might seem, again, tedious to do all this, just, when you can program them in by hand. But once, it doesn't take long to do this. And once you have it, it's just a nice feature to add to your sequencers. So that'll trigger that, that'll trigger that, that'll trigger that, that'll trigger that, that. And none of this stuff will, be visible on your actual sequencer. This is the kind of stuff you just put off in space until if we get containers one day, we can hide all these things. So we can just kind of, oh shit, what did I just do? Did I change that value? All right. So let's just clean this up a little bit. Okay. So now this will decide which note is playing. So you can see this light moving as I change it. Okay? So now for it to have the different scales, if we go into pitch, so let's just turn these off and we can select different ones that we want. So I'll just say like a major, minor. You know what I'm going to do right now? I don't want this to be super long, so let's just say Dorian and I don't know. Let's say minor pentatonic. All right, so then what we would do for this would be now get a split, a merge, make sure they're set to nearest, and then grab a value, call this one scale, run that into the control inputs for these, set these to 4, wire these in, and then I wonder if I should run this into something. It's okay. Let's just leave it like this. All right, so basically what you can do, here I'm going to open up on a separate browser. You can just, if you don't know them all, you can just look up scales, for example, and then plug them in for each key. Like where would you find that? All right. So now, this will be key of C. This will be key of C sharp. This will be key of D. So for key of C, I can say now for the major scale, that's just going to be the white notes. So we could just turn these up and these down. Okay. Although why don't we see that right now? We do want to see this. It should be visible. Is it? Oh, it might be because there's nothing wired in. Here, let's do this. Let's just get an LFO wired in. Will that show us something? Run this out to the pitch. I can't remember why it's not lit up. All right. All right, whatever. It's okay. I think it's because I don't have this running into anything, so it's not really like an active voice. But you can see now this assigns it that way. So anytime we're at note C, this is what major scale is going to be. And then we can do the same thing, go up to C sharp, and we can assign that. So C sharp would be what is it? C sharp. Okay, it would be over here. Flat F flat B flat. Oops, no. Oh yeah, A flat, B flat. Is that what it is? Yeah, I think that's what it is. I don't remember all of these for every key, especially keys I don't use as often. Anyway, but so this will change it now, especially if you throw this actually like in an active patch. It'll change it for depending on which note you're playing. So basically, you can just continue this general idea for all of these. And then yeah, so then basically what you would have on your actual patch would be, this would be your root selector, and this would be your scale selector. So yeah, so then you can basically just run your audio into here and shift the scales this way and your notes this way. Okay. And then yeah, you just save that as a module, and you can throw that in any of your sequencers. And then if we go back to this one, you can see, because this one's all patched up, all the lights are lit up for these because there's actually like signal running through. So you can see now, once you actually have it all set up, like I was showing you a second ago, if we switch the key, it's going to change what's coming through. So, you know, yeah, I can put it on like whatever, G Dorian, and now you'll hear, if I play G, it's going to all right. Cool. Hopefully people find that helpful. And then yeah, let me know if you want to know how to wire up the rest of this stuff. But yeah, I'm going to link the videos. So yeah, I have the videos that are generally showing everything. The only thing I haven't shown before on a video that's on here is how to do the gate length. But to do that, basically, this sequencer is just simply assigned to a gate length at the end of, where is it? If I can find where it's going. Oh, down over here at the end. So, and then I've shown this one on another video. This is the switcher. So basically, the way that these work is that with the gate retriggers, there's a logic setup that says that essentially if this sequencer is above 0.1, then it switches, so it overrides into this sequencer from this sequencer. So because of that, I could, for example, so like here, if I press a key, there's no notes, but I can actually plug in notes just with this sequencer. But as they get higher, there'll be retriggers. this, you can't even really hear how fast that's going because the gate length is too high. So if you bring the gate length down, you can really hear. Okay, and then yeah, so that's how that part is set up. That's the only thing I haven't shown before in one of my videos. As for the XY setup, that's all here. I've kind of consolidated that. When I showed on a previous video the XY setup, I had I had I had like repeats for all the numbers, so I just have them now for all these constants over here. So I just kind of deleted them just to simplify the thing. So it's just kind of one block now over here that triggers the whole XY sequencer. And then the stutters are over here. That's the same stutter setup I've shown in multiple videos. And then, yeah, this is the like logic setup that just makes these play one after another. I've shown that in my other videos. But like I was saying, so we just simply have overrides. So each, the input of each one of these sequencers is coming from a select that determines whether or not it's being triggered by the XY sequencer so that it's in sync with this, or if it's being triggered by the like linear sequencer, which is this. And then also with the whole linear sequencer, with all these sequencers on here, I have the same direction controls that I've shown in other videos. So here we can go backwards. Oh, let me run this linear, so this will be backwards too. And then we also have pendulum over here. Then random, and yeah, you get the point. So yeah, I feel like for I was ended up being pretty happy with how this one came out for just having like a nice 16-step sequencer for doing, whatever acid bases or things like that, or just kind of weird wonky sequences. But it makes it pretty simple to do a lot of kind of randomization and experimenting, especially with like having the LFOs being triggering the XY, or else being able to use the LFOs to trigger the pitch, and being able to FM the LFOs. So these ones over here are the FM modulators. Basically, these are like the FM carriers, because in the grid you can the LFOs have FM inputs, which is just the same as an oscillator. It's an FM input. It's just at a lower frequency. Anyway, I think I'm rambling on, kind of going on over a bunch of different ideas in this video, but hopefully you all can use some of these ideas in your patches. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.